Let us start this year with joy. Joy in being together in community. Joy in the creation of new art, ideas, and passions. Joy as an experience of the divine within and among us. Joy as a delightful way of talking back to all that would limit our full humanity. Joy as an expression of life. Joy is not a covering over of life's hardnesses, but a way to survive and thrive in the midst of them. We know that queer joy is an act of resistance. There's a good reason why Pride is both a massive party and the commemoration of a rebellion, because they go hand in hand. Camp revels in the queerness of who we are and the freedoms we are claiming for our lives. Dr. Mei-Ling Malone of Cal State Fullerton writes, Black joy is an act of resistance. The whole idea of oppression is to keep people down. So when people continue to shine and live fully, it is resistance in the context of our white supremacist world. As long as there has been racial oppression, there has also been resistance and joy. Black joy is a beautiful thing, but what would be even more beautiful is if all of us bound together in solidarity to destroy and dismantle our system of white supremacy so that all joy is just human joy and Black folks can live freely in the world and strive. Black joy is about affirming one's beautiful life. How can joy affirm our beautiful lives in our time together, in our work and study together? Today, I've curated a variety of voices speaking about joy and happiness, illustrated with people experiencing joy. Joy is resistance, joy is thriving, joy as an experience of God. Can you go to the Please join me in our call to worship, which is taken from Walt Whitman's Song of Joy. You are the bold. Oh, to make the most jubilant song. Oh, for the voices of animals. Oh, for the swiftness and balance of fishes. Oh, for the dropping of raindrops in a song. Oh, for the sunshine and motions of waves in a song. Oh, the joy of my spirit, it is uncaged. It darts like lightning. It is not enough to have this globe or a certain time. I will have thousands of globes and all time. Oh, to have life henceforth a poem of new joys, to dance, clap hands, exult, shout, skip, leap, roll on, float on.
It is my joy to welcome you to this beginning of the second semester. We are so glad that you are a part of us. My favorite Greek word is perichoresis. It's made up from two Greek words, peri, which means around, and chorein, which means to make space for. When you put it together, perichoresis, it is to make space for and to dance around together, like choreography, also from the same root. Willie Jennings, a former dean at Duke and now professor of theology and Africana at Yale, says, theological education should be an exercise in belonging. That is deeply what I want for each of us, a sense that there is space for us and a sense that we are pursuing theological education together. It is a perichoretic enterprise, if you must. Try to use it in a sentence, spell it, and your grades will go up, I'm sure. If there is a time that you do not feel like it's a practice of belonging, I hope you will let me know, because I care deeply that you have that sense as you participate in the communal life here at United. Welcome.
And now we'll begin our reflections on joy.
For Zion's sake, I will not keep silent. And for Jerusalem's sake, I will not rest until her vindication shines out like the dawn and her salvation like a burning torch. The nations shall see your vindication and all the rulers your glory. And you shall be called by a new name that the mouth of our God will give. You shall be a crown of beauty in the hand of God and a royal diadem in the hand of your God. You shall no more be termed forsaken, and your land shall no more be termed desolate, but you shall be called, my delight is in her, and your land fulfilled. For our God delights in you, and your land shall be married. For as one marries another, so shall your builder marry you. And as newlyweds celebrate over one another, so shall your God rejoice over you. Holy wisdom, holy word.
Greetings. I am Dean Kyle Roberts, and I'm happy to share academic announcements with you in this opening spring chapel. The academic announcements comes a little differently this term as the pandemic continues to force us to adapt and to change. We have postponed our spring convocation, but we look forward to rescheduling it as soon as we have an understanding of when COVID numbers will have lessened and stabilized, and we can meet together in person in the chapel again and celebrate Dr. Andrew Packman with us here for the next 2 years as our Louisville Fellow. So this will be a fairly brief version of announcements, but we do have exciting and important things going on, and so let's note them publicly in this chapel focused on joy. We welcome 209 students, I think at last count, into our classes this spring term. The first time in over 15 years that United has had over 200 students, degree-seeking students in our classes. It's a testament to the mission of United and its importance in theological education. We train, inform, and educate students for so many needs in the world today. First, let me mention we have an outgoing faculty member, a longtime faculty member of nearly 3 decades, 28 years, I believe. Dr. Eleazar Fernandez was with United as a beloved and important voice in theological education, a professor of constructive theology, who taught courses on theological anthropology, theological voices from the global South, who led exposure, immersion trips, different places in the world, courses on mission and ecumenics. How do you say that, Molly? Ecumenics, there we go. Dr. Fernandez has published more articles than I can mention in this time, but a number of books as well, including Reimagining the Human, Theological Anthropology in Response to Systemic Evil, Burning Center Porous Borders, The Church in a Globalized World, several volumes of collected essays that Eleazar has edited, including books that have chapters contributed from our own current faculty as well on the pandemic, teaching in a culturally diverse world, and so forth. We will miss Dr. Fernandez as he focuses his attention on his work now in the Philippines as president of Union Seminary there. We are looking forward to having our 3 finalist candidates for our Johnson Fry Chair in World Religions and Intercultural Studies joining us during the month of February. They will offer their candidacy lectures on Monday mornings and sometimes over the noon hour, and will interview with the faculty and with President Marshall during the same week of their lectures. I have sent out those candidate bios and the exact dates and times of their candidate classes, so let me know if you didn't receive that information, and I will send it right out to you. The successful candidate of those three will start teaching for United in the fall of 2022. Our partnership with Eden Seminary continues to grow and evolve. A group of us met with their dean and registrar today and discussed plans for expanding our respective course offerings to each other's students as we develop our consortial arrangement. We are ideal partners in many ways, sharing progressive values and a strong liberal Protestant heritage, but with an openness to change and to the evolution of seminary education in our day. We complement the other's strengths and curricular needs. We continue to develop our dual degree offering, allowing students to take a second degree along with their primary degree in a time and cost-efficient manner by utilizing overlapping credit requirements. We're also very close to finalizing a new MA in eco-justice. This will be available this coming fall. This degree can be taken as a standalone MA program or as a secondary degree program in the dual degree option that I just mentioned. This degree on environmental ethics and justice is a direct response to student interest and to a student proposal for such a program. It's an illustration of our student energy, creativity, and responsiveness to the great social needs of our time. The Lilly Grant program, our Leadership Center for Social Justice, is now underway, and we're searching for a director for that program and are taking applications. If you know anybody, direct them to Dr. Justin Sabia-Tanis. And so many other things, great things, exciting things are happening. I'll probably do another round of academic announcements when we have our spring convocation. I'm sure I'll be able to think of something to say. It's a joyful time here at United.
A reading from Adrienne Marie Brown. I took my own life and made it satisfying, joyful, livable, on purpose. My usefulness feels clear, although I may never quite be able to articulate it more than saying I carry light in the darkness. I hold it like the earth holds a fire for sharing love stories, secrets, and song. Without shadows, the precious miracle of light, fire, heat becomes either a scorching end or a beauty unnoticed, and that's fine. Knowing how to channel something as honest as fire has taken a lot of precise wearing down of myself, from rock to soil. It doesn't make me special, and if I'm not careful, it overwhelms me. We all have a role to play, and mine involves telling stories, prophecy, song, conversation, solitude, creative responses, and instigations for movement, and fully inhabiting my freedom. I have the freedom that comes from having ancestors who sacrificed a lot, prayed to a variety of gods and goddesses, sang a lot. There is a wave of good work behind me. I'm learning how to be happy in most conditions. I'm learning how to return to happiness, even while walking with grief, rage, and overwhelm. I'm learning how to protect my happiness from those who can't find theirs and cultivate mutual happiness by sharing it when it seems to be in limited supply. Adrienne Marie Brown is a community activist, mediator, and facilitator. Our second reading is from Meg Barnhouse, a leader and minister in the Unitarian Universalist tradition. She writes this reading called Joy in Ordinary Time. My mama was a second grade teacher at the Gladwin Elementary School in the rich suburbs of Philadelphia. She loved the children, but she was shy with the parents, who were financiers, pro ball players and attorneys, and members of the junior league, cricket clubs, and fox hunting clubs. For Christmas, she would get amazing presents. One year, she got a bottle of Joy perfume, then $150 an ounce. I don't know that she ever wore it. She was keeping it for a special occasion. She kept it so long that it finally evaporated. With other things, she was more open-handed. She had grandfather's china and silver, which she often used. That's what they're meant for, to be used, she said. There's no sense in saving them. You'd never see them at all that way. That open-handedness didn't extend to her own person. She wore sensible clothes, comfortable shoes, and white cotton underwear. She had grown up the child of missionaries, and whether she wanted it or not, that kind of missionary stream ran deep in her. She looked respectable and kind. She was cute and cheerful and funny. Joy perfume didn't fit who she seemed to me to be. A daughter never does see all the sides of her mother. It makes me smile now to think that Mama harbored a hope for an occasion that would come in which she might walk into a room smelling rich and sophisticated, cherished and values, in which it would be just the thing for her to wear. She let my sister and me smell it whenever we wanted to. The bottle sat like an honored but intimidating guest on her dresser. When we smelled it, we marveled at how much it had cost. I don't remember it ever occurring to me to wear it. I want to let this lesson sink deep into me. Celebrate the body, the trooper of a body that carries you through life, that pleasures you and lets you dance. Celebrate your body now, before you have lost the weight, before you get your muscle definition, before you feel justified by the harsh eyes of your expectations. Celebrate being alive, drawing breath. Celebrate that you are achingly sad today and that it will pass. It is good to be able to feel feelings. Celebrate that there was a love so big and good that it hurt to lose it, that there was a time so sweet that you ache remembering it. Honor the flowering of the tomato plants, the opening of the daylilies, the lemon smell of magnolias. Honor the ache of your heart and the tears falling. Life is mostly ordinary time. Lavish joy on ordinary time. Hope is a wonderful thing. It is good to imagine a time when things will get better, but not if it makes you put off splashing yourself with joy.
Joy is Not Made to Be a Crumb by Mary Oliver. If you suddenly and unexpectedly feel joy, don't hesitate. Give in to it. There are plenty of lives and whole towns destroyed or about to be. We are not wise and not very often kind, and much can never be redeemed. Still, life has some possibility left. Perhaps this is its way of fighting back, that sometimes something happens better than all the riches or power in the world. Could be anything, but very likely you notice it in the instant when love begins. Anyway, that's often the case. Anyway, whatever it is, don't be afraid of its plenty. Joy is not made to be a crumb.
We have not come here to take prisoners, but to surrender ever more deeply to freedom and joy. We have not come into this exquisite world to hold ourselves hostage from love. Run, my dear, from anything that may not strengthen your precious budding wings. Run like hell, my dear, from anyone likely to put a sharp knife into the sacred, tender vision of your beautiful heart. We have a duty to befriend those aspects of obedience that stand outside of our house and shout to our reason, oh, please, come out and play. For we have not come here to take prisoners or to confine our wondrous spirits, but to experience ever and ever more deeply our divine courage, freedom, and light.
Go from this place rejoicing in God who delights when we are creators of justice and joy. Celebrate.